it will have real consequences for you, the American people.
There are growing fears of a major global trade war.
Canada just kicked open the door to Europe for electric vehicle trade, leaving the U.S. auto industry in potential ruins.
Tolls on American commercial vehicles will be doubled.
Thanks to President Trump's love affair with tariffs, this might just be his most spectacular backfire yet. And we can say underestimating Canada was one of his biggest mistakes.
Goods exported from Canada and Mexico to the US will be hit with a 25% tariff.
And it all started when the US, under the watch of President Trump, decided to embrace protectionism with open arms. They slapped hefty tariffs on just about everything they could, including kitchen sinks made of steel and aluminum. This bold move was supposed to be a big win for American industries, but it came with a whole parade of international warning flags, which Canada was waving vigorously.
Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said his country will set its own tariffs on imports of billions of dollars of U.S. goods.
Canadian officials weren't just sitting around. They were busy issuing diplomatic warnings faster than a beaver slaps its tail on water, trying to tell the U.S. that this might just crack the solid ice of their friendly trade relations. But it seems like those warnings got lost in the mail because the U.S. was too hooked on the idea of protecting its turf.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary, because tariffs are going to make us rich as hell. It's going to bring our country's businesses back.
In a move that felt like a chess grandmaster's play, Canada fired back. They targeted the crown jewel of the American auto industry, Tesla. Imagine slapping a 100% tariff on every sleek Tesla rolling into the Great White North. That's not just a slap on the wrist, that's a full-on comedy roast. The price tag on these electric beauties could jump sky high, turning them from a tech bro's dream into a financial nightmare for anyone in Canada thinking about going electric.
Trudeau warned that tariffs would have an economic impact on Americans and appealed for cooperation with Canada.
But Canada's move was much more than just a pricey jab at Tesla owners. It was a strategic masterstroke aimed at shaking up the entire electric vehicle industry in North America. Suddenly, Tesla's grand plan to dominate the market looked a bit shaky, and the ripple effects threatened to slow down the pace of electric vehicle innovation across the continent.
Canada will also feel the pain if America buys less of their oil. The Prime Minister says he's ready to respond.
This tango of tariffs marks a dramatic shift in international trade. Long-standing trade buddies like the US and Canada are now in a dance where every step and misstep counts. This era of economic nationalism is turning up the heat, pushing countries to pull out their big guns to protect local industries. For the US, this could be a wake-up call to rethink its trade strategies, especially when it comes to dealing with old friends like Canada, who've shown they're not afraid to push back and spice up the trade game. And now, as Canada throws a whopping 100% tariff on Tesla, the whole global automotive scene, especially the electric vehicle, GEV gang, is feeling the shockwaves. This isn't just a small bump on the road. It's a major shakeup that could really mess with the whole EV landscape. Tesla, holding a beefy 70% of the US market as of late 2020, is now facing a potential price spike in Canada. But it's not just Tesla clutching its wallet. Other car makers and parts manufacturers are staring down the barrel of escalating costs and supply chain nightmares.
The President does choose to implement any tariffs against Canada, we're ready with a response.
We're talking about a domino effect here, people. The increased costs for manufacturers could trickle down to consumers all over the globe. What's the big deal? Well, this could slow down the worldwide switch to electric vehicles, a move that's crucial for cutting down carbon emissions and hitting those green goals set in fancy agreements like the Paris Accord. If EVs start costing an arm and a leg, fewer people will buy them, which could slam the brakes on our global green transport shift.
American tariffs could induce a rather sharp recession, depending on how long they last.
Now, Canada's bold tariff move is about to redraw the map of EV production and market dynamics across the planet. Automakers might have to seriously rethink their manufacturing strategies, possibly moving away from North America to dodge these tariff bullets. This shift could prompt companies to set up shop in the European Union or other areas where they can avoid trade spats like this one.
Donald Trump firmly believes he is the world's best negotiator and appears confident that punishing tariffs will force other nations to do what he wants. But if that doesn't happen quickly, he is risking a trade war that could result in American voters paying the price.
And speaking of Europe, Canada isn't just throwing shade at the US, it's cozying up to the EU. By opening its garage doors to European electric cars, Canada is reducing its dependence on US auto imports and making room for European automakers to speed into the Canadian market. This is a big play, diversifying Canada's automotive supply and potentially reshaping the North American and European automotive markets.
Mr. Trump's stated reason for these tariffs is to try to stop the flow of fentanyl, to stop the flow of illegal migrants coming across from Canada.
Trade deals between Canada and the EU, like the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, are already making it easier and cheaper to swap automotive goodies between the two regions. Since kicking off in September 2017, CETA has been chopping down tariffs and smoothing out regulatory wrinkles, making EU vehicles more appealing in the Canadian market. This whole strategy isn't just about dodging tariffs, it's about fortifying Canada's economic armor against future global market shocks. By buddying up with the EU, Canada is placing a smart bet against US protectionism and locking down a more stable, diversified supply line for its automotive needs. European carmakers are poised to cash in on this, gaining access to a market that's getting eager for alternatives to US rides, especially in the cutting-edge electric and hybrid sectors.
Trudeau said his country will set its own tariffs on imports of billions of dollars of U.S. goods at a rate of 25%. Speaking earlier, Trudeau warned that tariffs would have an economic impact on Americans.
Canada's big move to slap hefty tariffs on American icons like Tesla is shaking up the auto world, big time. Think about it. $50 billion zip back and forth each year between the US and Canada just from cars and car parts. Now, with Canada putting the brakes on American imports, US automakers might have to kiss some of that sweet, sweet revenue goodbye. Imagine all those American-made SUVs and trucks hitting a roadblock at the border. Yeah, that's a lot of cash flow drying up real fast.
We have a tremendous deficit with the European Union, so we'll be doing something very substantial with the European Union. We're going to bring the level up to where it should be.
But wait, there's more. This isn't just about fewer American cars cruising in the Great White North. The whole North American car-making machine, with its parts and pieces crisscrossing borders like kids playing tag, could get a total makeover. And who's waiting in the wings? European automakers, grinning and ready to rev up their engines in Canada, thanks to some cozy trade terms with the EU under the good old Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA. This could mean European rides might start replacing Detroit's finest in Canadian driveways.
As I've said before, if President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States, the better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us.
Now, let's zoom out and think big picture. Canada isn't just tweaking trade tactics. They're going for a green revolution in the auto industry. By buddying up with Europe, those wizards of eco-friendly tech, Canada could turn into a hotspot for green cars, speeding up its shift toward cleaner, meaner automotive tech. This is all about catching the wave of global demand for rides that don't guzzle gas like there's no tomorrow.
These are huge. This is not the normal level at which countries tend to operate when they're doing these trade negotiations.
But cars are just the start. This trade tiff is sending ripples through bigger ponds, like energy and agriculture. Canada is the heavyweight champ of oil exports to the US, clocking in at almost half of what the US imports. Mess with this, and we're talking bigger bills and maybe even blackouts in the States. And it's not just your light bulbs at risk. Everything from factories to fridges could feel the pinch.
Anything he did was to increase prices in America, put inflation up. That would be very, very dangerous for his popularity.
On the farm front, it's a similar showdown. Tariffs are sprouting up on stuff like grains and dairy, pushing up prices and giving everyone from corn farmers in Iowa to dairy queens in Wisconsin a serious headache. In 2018, U.S. dairy did a cool $600 million in sales to Canada. But now, with these new tariffs, American milk is suddenly looking a bit sour up north.
Our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables.
What we're seeing is a major shuffle in who trades what with whom in North America. Canada's playing a new game by strengthening ties with the EU and giving the US the cold shoulder. This could force American industries to rethink their game plans as they navigate a world where their northern buddy is now handing out business cards in European accents. This isn't just a trade squabble. It's a whole new world of trade chess, and Canada's saying, checkmate. But this drama is far from over, so stay tuned and subscribe for all the latest twists and turns in this high-stakes trade saga.